Are you wearing shorts?
Did you put some shit at the same
Yeah, let's swap.
Alright, so if we look at
It's
question
not.
number
Back at it. What's up, YouTube? Back at it.
one. Y'all sit down.
I don't even know what to do today. I have no idea.
Alright.
You next to that? Yeah, I asked her.
Really? Really?
Alright, who wants to draw a dot diagram up there for fluorine?
You do?
I don't. How about you do it?
I'm good.
Never mind.
Can I try?
Consider the,
I'll try. Can I try?
It's 7.
I'll give you another question.
No, never mind. I'm good. I don't want another question.
There are plenty of questions. Everybody's going to get an opportunity. And then we have the homework besides. How many is that?
It's 18. I don't know.
She's wrong. Let me try it. Bro, are you good?
No, I'm
How many is it?
7.
And 8.
7.
I see another one.
I see.
Why'd you put 3 on one side? What's
Maybe I want to do it that way.
It has 7, and it should have 7 up there. Okay?
No, it don't matter.
I would not take off for that because she has the right number. However, just to fix something, again, envision a box. 2 per side. Okay? Instead of that weird way that Diavion drew hers.
I like it that way.
Okay. It's not technically correct.
I'm not changing it because of you. You said
Okay, then
you
I'll mark it
count
wrong for Diavion. All right. So Tyler, tell me what kind of bond aluminum has?
Why you give me that one? That's the one I skipped. And what's that?
We'll come back to you. All right. Eduardo, what kind of bond is aluminum? Really? Can you tell me the 3 kinds of bonds?
I can tell you.
Go ahead, Malik.
Metal bond?
Metallic bond?
Yeah.
Oh, you're just giving me the answer? Okay, metallic bond is correct. Can you tell me the 3 kinds of bonds while we're on you?
That one, ionic and covalent.
Ionic, covalent, metallic.
Yeah.
Aluminum is a metallic bond. Why?
It's just metal.
It's just a metal. Okay? It's only a metal, which is why it's a metallic bond. The other 2 types are ionic and covalent. You with us on that? Okay. So if I asked about NAF, could you do that one?
No.
Okay. Now, how'd you know?
It's a metal and a non-metal.
It's a metal and a non-metal. You with us on that, Eduardo? Okay. So, and number 3, the oxidation number for neon. Jose.
I know everything.
I'm glad you do. I need you to give me an answer to that particular question.
I want to give people a chance.
I'm giving you a chance. Oxidation number for neon.
Ooh.
Specifically don't say that.
No.
Use the periodic table.
Oxidation.
That's not how it goes. I don't think I know that. Yeah, I got that wrong.
8.
If it has 8, how many will it gain or lose?
0.
So what's its oxidation number?
0.
0 is the right answer. All
I knew that.
right, the oxidation number for magnesium. Liliana. Positive or negative? All right, positive 2. So far, some of us are going to be struggling on the quiz tomorrow.
Sorry, Miss Walker.
Okay? All right, number 4. Outer shell electrons for phosphorus, Elizabeth. 5 is correct. Outer shell electrons for chlorine, Nigella. Huh? Is unnamed.
No, I didn't.
Outer shell electrons for chlorine.
It
I
is,
can wear this.
3.
I'm glad.
it is 1. Wait,
I didn't say oxidation number.
Oh,
I'm still like
7.
7. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Say 5 and 7.
Yes.
The name for BaO, Grace.
Val.
It's
Vietnamese
barium
for,
oxide.
Barium oxide is correct. The name for CaI2, Isella.
It's not too oxide.
Calcium who?
Oxide. No.
Wrong element. Calcium is good, it's not oxide. Look up I. Iodine. There you go. All right, calcium iodide. All right, CSNO3. Can you do that one, Otanel? Nope. Cesium's right. All right, but instead of naming it as 3 separate things, where do you look when you have 3 capitals? All right, so now look there. Cesium or cesium, either one. And then what's the name of that NO3? Yep, cesium nitrate. Now, on the quiz tomorrow, if you're like Otanel and you start, alright, so if you start to name 3 separate things, that should tell you you're doing it wrong. You will only have 2 names. Alright?
You wanted them to know 2 names.
I don't need a parrot or a mimic in front of me, you goof.
You goof.
Alright, so if we have 3 elements, you will still only have 2 names. Alright, so cesium, and then look on your reference table and find the other name, so NO3 is nitrate. Alright, now AS2O5. Are you doing Heil Hitler or do you have a question?
I told the other one.
What about it?
I need it.
What happened to yours?
I don't know. I never got it.
Dude, it's the same reference table we've been using since the first week. It's your reference table.
The one you first gave?
Yes.
Oh.
It's on the back.
Just walk out.
You can, but just carry it over to have it till 3:30.
Talking about this.
Yes, on the back side. Where it says polyatomic
I
ions.
see it.
Okay? All right, AS2O5, you're relevant.
Where do you add the DI?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's what is it? Di or something.
Arsenic.
And then oxide.
Diarsenic pentaoxide. Good.
Yes. Oh, God.
Very good.
It was hard.
All right. Writing the formulas. Can I get a volunteer to write aluminum chloride on the board? Markel. Feel brave?
No.
Aluminum chloride?
No.
I'll do it.
Yes?
No.
Come on. What was that? Yeah, on the board.
I got it. Can you write it the phone?
No.
Me?
If I say it, can you write it for me?
Huh?
Sure.
Very free.
That's not my place. A lot of that.
Don't need go.
Kitties.
Oh.
Don't need go on the next page and write it.
Yeah, go to the.
Let's get one called sock.
Whenever you're ready.
Because it has like a little white top that has one sock.
Said what?
It's called sock.
A-I or A-L.
AL.
Yeah. Put 3 at the top.
Ionium.
And C-L.
Aluminum.
What did you say? Chloride, aluminum chloride?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's right.
-1 at the top of that. Yeah, switch it.
Too much.
You.
You hey.
See you.
We go right there, right?
Why would you write the one?
Get rid of the minus, switch to minus.
You say you don't?
Why do you put the one?
Shut up. Maybe people would like it there. Okay?
No, nobody would.
Shut
I
up.
mean, you can write the 1, but we don't bring the minus to the negative down. There you go. Good. All right, how about the calcium chloride?
Now Jay said she'd like to go.
Okay.
Come on, now, Jay. Come on, smart. It's not smart. I said. There you go.
No, then you have
Where's
all
your-
these mod.
Does anyone ever have some?
This
Some
is
people do.
smart.
Ooh,
That is not smart.
Really? Camo became
That's not a
smart?
solid color.
Camel is.
Maybe I wanted to go hunting.
Or what?
In school?
Yeah.
We go hunt.
Wait, I forgot what it was.
So,
What's that called?
Okay.
Right?
right there.
My good right here?
Yeah, you good over
All right, now Jaya did the silicon tetrafluoride. So she put 1 on silicon because it had no prefix. Tetra means 4. Fluoride, she put it on chlorine. All right? How about calcium chloride?
Okay.
Any takers? Anybody feel brave?
I think I should do it again.
How about Mario?
What?
Yeah.
Do calcium chloride.
I can't see.
Really?
I can't see that one.
Can
I see blurry right now.
That's okay.
Stab me.
Alright, there you go.
What am I doing?
Calcium chloride.
Wait, chloride's one of the thingies, aren't it?
Yeah.
I'll go next page.
That's your box.
You guess up somewhere.
That's your box.
So I was just messing. Open it, did not help.
Oh no, that was just something.
Grace, did we have homework for Jess up?
I think only the people that weren't there had homework. I'm not sure. I have to look in my binder. I'll do it.
Oh, we have. I think we have a quiz today.
Homework.
Oh,
Oh, the opening.
And our test Friday.
Parentheses.
How did the observer?
What's the oxidation number?
in your
For this?
class?
Oh, it was
We had to do the library.
So it'd be parentheses. CL.
Yep.
2.
O3.
Oh,
Everything in the parentheses stays there.
stay there.
The parentheses. And then the 2 goes where? There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yay!
Alright. Last one.
Y'all got it?
Fix that.
What?
Disulfur hexaoxide. Who wants to do that one?
You
How
can
about
do
Lily
all
Hall?
just one.
I think Miss Wall should do it.
You want to do disulfur hexaoxide?
All right, guys. On YouTube today, we're gonna burn down the school.
Really? In your prank day?
On senior prank day, yeah, because today's prank was bad. All they did was put syrup on the tables and put paper everywhere. We're gonna burn down the school. We're gonna go right now. What is it? Police just coming here.
He gonna tackle him.
Right.
Charge.
Well, almost. I'm like, he was just joking.
No. The water was not the senior prank. The water was the cleaning up of the mess.
I know.
Didn't they spray Miss Curry's car too?
Yeah, it was
Say-
so bad because they
Yeah,
decided to
let's
wear
go.
regular clothes and they knew exactly.
They sprayed her car?
Say F Miss Curry.
They sprayed her car?
They did?
With what?
What water?
What?
Obviously.
Yeah, who are?
Why?
Wait, what?
I don't
I think just spray paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took it too far then.
They would've been knew that.
I think so, but she made them clean it up.
Cameras, like,
Oh, wait.
Cameras everywhere in this building.
so like, they gonna see your face.
But I was pretty
All
sure
right, what's that
probably.
mean, Liliana? So put 2 on it.
Man, all I know is false.
Okay.
My car.
Oxide is-
No, they did all that.
Big O.
There you go. What's hexa?
That ain't no joke.
4, 6.
6.
I'll be pissed.
There you go. Put it on my
And then
desk
put-
so it doesn't fall off
And
like
it's
it
about
just did.
put F.
There you go.
Nah,
Alright,
they took it too far.
now, what you just practiced
No graduation.
is your quiz tomorrow.
Graduating.
Some of you are gonna be in great shape. Some of y'all are toast. Alright, y'all go back to your seats. Let's run through the homework real quick. And then we'll do one more short review, and then we're moving on. Mario, you don't even have this thing back where it's supposed to be.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, really unfortunate.
What's your-
Why are you so cold?
Yes, you did.
Alright, so real quick, is CAI2 Diabion? You know, Mario, sit down. Is CAI2 ionic or covalent? Alright, Na2O, ionic or covalent? Guys, all you're checking for is the first element. Is it a metal or a non-metal?
Either.
It's a metal, so it's ionic. What about SO3? Is the first element a metal or a non-metal? So it's covalent. N2O3. RB. ALF3. PBR3. AL. K. Okay? All you have to check is the first element. You don't have to check anything else. The metal is always first. Okay? So the only ones you could use prefixes on would be which questions?
The things that have.
The one that C.
The one that have the C's could have the prefixes. So you could say sulfur, and then what? Trioxide. Okay? What would we name number 4 as? Nitrogen trioxide. And phosphorus tribromide. All right, now for number 1, how would we name it? Because no prefixes can be used anywhere else. So number 1 would be what? Calcium iodide. No dyes. All right, calcium iodide. Number 2, sodium oxide. You're only naming first and last. All right, number 5, rubidium chloride. Number 6, aluminum fluoride.
Phosphorus.
All right, number 8 has parentheses. What should that tell you?
That you should look at
Yeah, it's a
You
special.
gotta look where?
on the other sheet.
It's sulfate.
You gotta look here on the orange card. Because they couldn't find. Aluminum sulfate. Okay? Number 9, potassium carbonate. And number 10.
Carbon.
No, it's
What is that first element?
Is that a CS?
CS.
Cesium.
I thought it
Hydroxide. Y'all's pronunciation's terrible.
was. Okay.
Cesium hydroxide.
So when it comes to.
Then I gotta make a
All you have to do is look at the very first element. If it's a metal and a non-metal, it's ionic. Okay, so all you have to find is does it have a metal?
So
If
if
it
it
has a
has,
metal, it's ionic. Okay, that's the shortcut.
so if it has,
The shortcut is if it has a metal and another element, it's ionic. Y'all hush over there. The shortcut is, Tyler, do you need me to find you an alternate location for 3rd period? I hear there's quite a crowd at ISS today to keep you company. Now, The shortcut is, when you look at all those compounds, anything that starts with a metal has a metal and a non-metal with it. So if it has a metal, by default, it's automatically an ionic compound. Okay? If it starts with a non-metal, the two elements are going to be a non-metal and a non-metal. So that'll make it covalent.
So what if it
That's
starts
the
with
shortcut. What?
what if it starts with non-metal and then a metal?
It will not be in that order. That's what I'm telling you. It will not be non-metal metal. It will be, if it starts with a non-metal, it's going to end with a non-metal. So it'll be a non-metal and non-metal. Okay? That's why I said you could use that shortcut. All right? Anybody else have a question? All
So
right.
you're not gonna check the homework?
I just went over the homework and gave you the
You didn't
answers.
check, like,
Right.
I can do it for no reason.
Yeah,
You did not do it for no reason. You did it so you can pass the quiz tomorrow.
No, that's just.
What it is.
All right. This is our last naming practice. It's like the homework when it's mixed up. This is the biggest section on the quiz tomorrow. It has the most points. It's like 65% of the points. Okay? We're gonna go until about, 15 minutes tops on this, and we're switching topics. One there, come out, come on. Welcome. And then we're gonna switch to physical and chemical properties, physical and chemical change.
You know units yesterday? It's the exact same. It's not the
She's not
same.
gonna actually fix
It's
that.
the same concept.
The,
So.
All right, Liliana, you were absent, right? Yeah. Okay, so your homework's full credit.
Look, my nose is.
So what were the prefixes again?
Prefixes were the monodiatride. You can only do that where it's covalent.
Ah, you put like.
Now remember, in the top section where you guys are writing the names, you have to figure out ionic or covalent.
Wait, so it's a metal to iron, right?
The metal is on, and no prefixes. Just hang it on the chair.
I used to have my birds like that's how it is. When I was little. It's hard to fold. It's like big.
Hang it on the chair, which is what I'm gonna do with it.
That scared me. Where'd it go?
I don't want it to fall. Okay, I got it. Sit. Sorry.
no.
Why you out here?
By the name.
I am. I'm already. No,
Mario, sit down and be quiet. If you can't be quiet and do the assignment, play on your phone. So at least you don't disrupt anybody else.
Tomorrow's Thursday.
But
Tomorrow's Thursday.
tomorrow's Thursday, yes.
My mom's birthday.
Tell her happy birthday.
Yeah.
Not that she will.
Right.
But I said,
She
Tomorrow's
will.
birthday, it's Saturday.
No. And then my birthday's on Saturday.
You ever figure out who put clothes on the dog?
No. I just think it's one of the kids in the neighborhood. And he comes back with a whole suitcase.
I'm trying to.
You guys have a question, bring it to me if you want to know something's right. Tyler, you naming?
Huh?
I said, are you doing the naming?
Yeah, I was putting on my warm up. It's stressful.
May I have a question?
No. I lied. Are you for video, something like that?
Rubidium RB Group 1, what about it?
Oh, found it. I was asking, know where it was.
turn this in?
No, but if you bring it to me, I'll check your answers. We're gonna go over it. One second.
I'm looking up, said ain't nobody answer my question. No, okay. You know, something angry. I'm not something angry.
Oh.
That's crazy. No, she's not gonna do that. No, she's not.
I don't know which one it is, but it was changes your posted. I'm not posted. We all agree on that. Okay, so that first page in there. We wrote this page in here. The second one. Customer good? Six, 8, 6. Got
This one, the eye, the eye. That's gonna be the most problem.
you only missed it one time. Okay,
That's right.
you got all of those. Polyatomic ions right. Yep, you did the polyatomic ions right, and you got those right. Okay, and you did the 2 covalents right. All right. Both of these had 2, so let's go ahead and do the 2 with the 2s.
They cancel out.
You cancel out.
So you got it wrong if I get that.
Yeah, if anything's wrong in the formula, it's wrong. Both of these are 1s, so what's gonna happen?
Yes, cancel.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the other 2 from.
Oh, cause I thought of the robot, you had the 2 element thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, let's pencil.
Oh,
This one's good. What's potassium symbol?
okay. I just looked at the
That's phosphorus. That'd be good. These are a mess. This is 1 and that's 2, so what's gonna happen to 1 and the 2?
This is where the switch will come. The Christmas.
You were supposed to do that all the way over here. You crisscrossed here. Alright, this one, those 2 don't switch because they are prefixes. You gotta switch here, here, and here. You gotta switch everywhere except the 3 that I circled. Okay?
Why'd you circle that?
Because they have a prefix. The only ones that don't switch are the ones with prefixes. You crisscross everywhere else. The only reason you got this okay here is these are 1s and they cancel out. This has a 2 and a 1. This has a 3 and a 2. It has a 1 and a 2. You got to crisscross.
And when you Christmas, they go on the bottom.
Oh, wow.
Well, how much is Penta?
Penta is
It's
5.
Mine.
Why would you put them in there at the top?
Disrespected her shoe. That's not.
What are the wrong?
The rest of your subscription.
No.
It's like you did crisscross. Alright, so ones I start, because you don't have subscription, you crisscross. Okay? Now, here
I guess it's 3 goes.
Here.
Right here.
and here, they have prefixes, so you don't have to crisscross. Okay? But all the rest of them, you have to crisscross your occupation numbers. You gotta look up and crisscross. Did you do any of that? Say crisscross, look up your occupation numbers.
And then if you get your
All right, you crisscross everywhere.
Checking these?
Miss Brown.
That's okay, she got more right than y'all did, but you crisscross everywhere.
So why are you checking these?
All right. So the 4 I'm putting the lines in front of are the ones that have prefixes.
Oh, you're
Those
not
are the
supposed
ones
to
you
cross.
don't crisscross. Okay? So the ones you were supposed to crisscross, you did beautifully on. Okay, the 3 you're not supposed to crisscross on, now don't crisscross, go back and fix those.
Okay, right now. So the ones on the inside.
See, I didn't know that.
Say what now?
The ones on the inside, they come out now.
No, the ones on the inside of the parentheses, stay there.
I'm confused, because why don't you put the 2 up there then?
So the 3?
Why not put one up there? That's the oxidation number, so crisscross.
And then when you crisscross, it will go to, one.
Oh.
3. That's this one, and then that.
I finished.
Like, is it if it's a 4 and 4, can I just take one out or just
Not
keep
4 and 4. What's the prefixes on carbon? Stop looking up the oxidation number. Look at that question. What prefix is carbon have? One.
Yes. Mind your business. Hey, you are the, she's the one who's trying to argue with.
Say it. Don't insult somebody when you didn't get any more right. You got less right.
She said, talk to the names.
Now she is.
What did you fix on the back?
What I fixed.
You fixed Jack on the back. Okay, then they're all wrong.
What? I brought what you put on there. So you're wrong.
Okay, so right now,
You're crisscrossing the 2 and the 3. So what do you get?
So why is there 2 right there?
because it
Because
Shut up.
this 2 is the oxidation number. This 3 is the oxidation number. You cannot move anything inside those parentheses.
That one long formula is kind of hard.
Very nice.
So this one only has, that's supposed to be a negative 1, right?
Yes, correct. We'll make you really too.
yes.
She needs some help over here.
No.
Oh, yeah.
You need to learn.
What's funny?
I gave her like glasses.
Miss Wall said you.
Thing. She said, it was like napkins and stuff.
Maybe I do and I don't remember.
That's it.
Let's see if I got a spoon.
Oh.
I was walking out now. I don't care about it.
Yeah, that.
Welcome. All right, what you got? Stop beating on him.
You shouldn't be insulting me.
He did what to
You
you?
insulted me.
You said it yourself, you didn't know you, but I just said that's sad.
You gonna sit here and cry too. You got a tissue there. You wasted a whole tissue. Then that did it.
Alright, you wanna reduce here?
Why you have that book?
Because I have stuff to do.
I'm not gonna do this. Did you type this on the paper? Did you? No.
I can answer that one for you.
It is due Thursday. I have 24 hours.
Alright, can we take a look at what you've got?
Yes, please.
No.
Why not?
No,
Alright, let's take a look at what you've got.
no.
If you haven't finished, check what you did do. Alright, number 1. CaI2, calcium iodide. Number 2, sodium oxide. Number 3, sulfur trioxide. Number 4, dinitrogen trioxide. Now, 3 and 4 were covalent. That's why they had prefixes. 5, rubidium chloride. 6, you two stop. Sit down. Aluminum fluoride. 7, phosphorus bromide. 8, aluminum sulfate. 9, potassium carbonate. And 10, cesium hydroxide.
What was that again?
Number 9 is potassium carbonate. All right. Now, some of us are having issues with 11 through 20. All right. When you have to write a formula, here's what you need to look for. Okay. All right. Find the prefixes. All right, find your questions that have prefixes. All right, tell me which ones have prefixes in 11 to 20.
11,
All right, so number 11, 15, and 19. So in 11, 15, and 19, there's no crisscrossing. Okay, those are the ones with the prefixes, so we're not crisscrossing. All right, so in number 11, it says what? Carbon tetraiodide. So what prefix is on carbon? And nothing. There's no prefix. So we just write C. All right, let me change colors. We just write C. You can write a 1 if it makes you happy since there's no prefix. Iodide has what prefix? Is it iodide? Yeah, it is. 4, because it says tetra, right? So we write 4 iodides. All right, if we jump down to number 15, it says dinitrogen. So nitrogen has what on it? So you put a subscript of 2. And then it says pentaoxide. What's penta mean?
5.
O with a 5. And the last one, number 19, says carbon again, but what prefix is on it?
Mono.
On carbon.
Oh, nothing.
Nothing. So that means a 1. Oxide has what prefix on it? It says mono, so that's a 1. So it's just O. Now, those are the only questions that have no crisscrossing.
Yeah, I need help with the crisscross.
Every other question on there, you have to look up an oxidation number and you have to switch it. Okay? So in number 12, magnesium, Mg, what group is it in on the periodic table? It's in group 2, so it has a +2. You don't need the plus. You just need the 2. Fluoride is F. What group is it in? Group 17. So what's its oxidation number? -1. You only need the 1. You don't need to know it's a negative. Now, if you don't know the oxidation numbers, I'm sorry. You need to memorize those by now. 2 comes down. 1 comes down. Mg, F2. We've been doing oxidation numbers for 4 days. 4 days. It's time for you to commit those to memory. Carbon sulfide. Sorry, calcium sulfide. Calcium is in group 2. Sulfide is in group 16. Now, you can crisscross those if you want to. What are those two twos going to do to each other? I wouldn't even bring them down. CAS. All right, sodium bromide. Sodium has a 1, bromine has a 1. What are they going to do to each other? Cancel out.
Fight.
NABR.
They will fight.
All right. Rubidium oxide. Rubidium's in group 1. Oxygen is in group 16. Again, you don't need the positive and the negative. What are the 1 and the 2 going to do? They're going to cross. 1's going to come down. 2's going to come down. RB, 2, O. Now, aluminum carbonate. Al has a 2. Sorry, 3. We're in group 13. Carbonate has a 2. Now, that came off your reference table. Parentheses, 2 comes down, 3 comes down. So you have Al2, CO3 with a 3. Calcium, was it calcium? Yeah, acetate. C2H3, O2. That has a 1 and a 2. Parentheses, bring your 1 down, your 2 down. What else do we have left?
Hold on.
And then.
And
Calcium acetate.
what happens to those 2 1s in the last one? I cancel out. Questions about naming?
No.
Okay. At this point, I hope you know enough to be able to do the quiz and get what you need right on the exam. But I'm not spending any more time on naming. Okay? Now, find your notes. We're moving on to chemical and physical properties, chemical and physical change. You see the stuff sitting on the back table? That's a lab for us for tomorrow, but we got to do the notes first. Or you can't do the lab.
Vinegar smells like poop.
Then take a 0 on the lab and don't participate. I don't care.
Say, that doesn't mean I'm not gonna do the work. You say.
Stop whining. Get out what you need. I get tired of whining children.
You do them all day, don't you?
All day long. All right. So we're going to start with physical and chemical properties, and then we'll do physical and chemical change. The lab is divided into 2 parts. Physical and chemical properties first, physical and chemical change in part 2. Okay? When you all saw the burning of magnesium, this is the lab that goes with that. Okay? So, first of all, what is a physical property? A physical property. Nigel, Grace, get off phones, pay attention. Stop holding on to each other. It's a property that can be observed
Even me this time.
without altering the identity of a material. That's great. Right one, they're not great. They're run out of ink.
I just wrote this. I ain't paying that back.
Yeah.
Why? Right properties.
So, if we want to describe the big lab table at the front of my room, the one the computer is currently sitting on, all right? Don't comment. There's got tissues and books and stuff sitting on it. All right? Can you describe something else that's a physical property about this table here?
It's a solid.
It's a solid, all right? So it's state, all right? Its state of matter would be a physical property. Whether it's a solid, a liquid, or a gas, would certainly fall into physical properties. What else can you say about the table?
It's solid.
We already have that.
Like what's made out of, like wood and the top part.
All right, it's composition.
Hard.
All right, it's hardness. All right, you might remember from earth science, you talked about the hardness of rocks, the Mohs scale. All right, is considered a hardness scale for rocks. Some elements on the periodic table are harder than others. Group 1 elements are very soft. Group 2 are a little harder, and the transition metal are the hardest of the elements on the periodic table. Okay? So that desk would be considered very hard compared to some types of woods. All right? Can you give me something else about it?
Got no luster.
Huh?
Has no luster.
Okay, luster is certainly a physical property. All right, conductor or conductiveness is a physical property.
Malleable.
Whether something is malleable is a physical property. Okay?
It's cheap.
Huh?
It's cheap.
No, that's not going to work for us. All right, I'll give you a hint. Give me some things we can measure about it.
And weights, length, mass.
Okay, length, weight, mass. There's one really obvious one y'all have not given me.
I'm gonna get it right.
All right, give me some more things about size instead of just saying size. It's fat. Height is fine. Sorry, I was puzzled by fat. The one I was thinking of was started with C. Yeah, because it runs around the room and burns some calories. Color was what I was thinking.
Oh, color.
Yeah. I would have thought y'all could have told me black and brown. No, I was just thinking black and brown. No, I was going for easy here.
I mean,
What, color? Black,
You
brown.
weren't supposed to hear that. Just leave it alone.
Okay. All right, that's good enough for the time being.
I'm confused.
He didn't like the word color. I was like black
No,
and
no,
brown.
not that
I was just
word.
talking about the desk.
Word orange.
No,
All right.
they're black. I prefer African American.
Okay. We're not going to debate that today. Now, on your lab sheet, you guys will have to be able to tell me if your physical properties are intensive or extensive. Now, make sure you note that, and I'm going to change this to the word only. Only physical properties can be classified as extensive and intensive. So in a minute, when we talk about chemical properties, are we going to label them as intensive or extensive? No. Okay, you were right when you said no. Even though you looked a little unsure, you were correct. All right? Only physical properties can be classified as intensive or extensive. Okay? So, what does it mean to be intensive?
To be Nigerian, I'm a physical person.
It means it does not depend on size or amount. So extensive is the opposite of that.
It's fake.
No, it does
No.
depend on the size or amount. Okay, it depends on the size or the amount.
I didn't even notice you had all the money. Yeah, we look at it. Stop. You have my OCD.
Not even sure I'd classify it as minor. All right, are we caught up?
No.
Now remember, you could use your notes on the lab tomorrow. So when I ask you if it's intensive or extensive in the chart, pull out your notes and make sure you know what intensive and extensive are. Hello, Tyler.
Like, is that all we need to know? Is it gonna be-
We're going to go back to the list and label them as intensive or extensive so you know how to do it. Because the properties that are in the column on your list that you're going to identify about styrofoam, you then have to go back and label intensive and extensive. Okay? Yo, Tyler. Take the Tic Tacs out and go sit down.
Charge your kids too connected to each other. It's so weird.
You know, he's super cool that way.
Jose's my friend.
So you think?
Jose, we're friends, right?
Okay. He validated you. That's good. That's important. All right, we caught up?
No.
Come on, dude.
It's not as cold as it was before.
Okay. Well,
Dr. said this time straight was when she looked at her, she was like,
How
you look at me?
I don't understand how they got it on her car. When did they do it?
I don't even know how her
Nobody
car.
knows.
They followed her home.
How did they get it?
When did they do it?
It's in the
That is true. When did they?
I mean, I heard it really late last night.
Yeah, it wasn't. She wasn't here.
They followed.
That's my point.
Oh, was she? Either they followed her home or
What
something.
they do? They
Got her trunk.
All right,
And they jumped in her trunk.
so
They're like,
what state would state be? Would it be intensive or extensive? So if I cut my desk into 3 sections, we put one section of Miss Rector's room, I kept a piece, and we put one piece of Miss Bowers' room. Would the state, meaning it's a solid,
No.
change?
No.
So it would stay the same. So the amount would not matter. It would still be a solid, right?
Yeah.
So that means state is intensive. The size or the amount does not matter. Okay? Now, the length of the desk. If I did the same thing, a third of it went to Rector, third stayed here, and a third went to Ballard. Would the length of the desk change?
No. Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gave you a meter stick and we measured its length. Would the length of it be the same if I put a third there, I kept a third, and we put a third in Miss Bowers' room? Okay. Would the length of your arm be the same if we chopped it off? So that means length is extensive because the amount or the size will change if we cut it up. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? All right. So composition. Is composition intensive or extensive? What it's made of.
What is composition?
What it's made of.
Like a composition of what?
Intensive.
That's intensive. What it's made of is not going to change.
She said,
How hard the desk is. It's intensive. It's not going to change.
she said a composition.
All right. Is luster. How shiny.
No.
It's not going to change. That's intensive. Whether it conducts.
No.
It's not going to change. Malleable.
Yes. Boy, I
Not
don't know.
gonna change.
Malleable means you can be rolled into a sheet.
Oh.
No.
Oh, no.
My desk is not malleable, by the way.
What?
Ductile.
What does that mean?
Whether you can be drawn into a wire.
No.
All right. Weight. How much the desk weighs.
Yes.
Yes.
That's extensive.
Lose some weight.
Is mass.
Yes.
That's extensive. Is height.
Yes.
If I chop his legs off, it's going to change its height. Is
Right.
color.
No.
No.
If I cut it into thirds, will its color change?
No.
No. Color is intensive. Okay? Questions?
No.
All right.
Let's go.
All right, so a chemical property. A chemical property will alter the identity of a material.
Can I get water?
Sure. Now, we cannot do nearly as many of these. So, some basic ones that you guys might know are like reactivity. All right, some things are more reactive than others. Like something that we talked about was hydrogen versus helium. Okay, we said we would not send hydrogen gas in balloons because if you sent them to somebody who was a smoker, what would happen? Kaboom! Okay, but helium is perfectly safe. Some gases are more reactive than other gases. All right, flammability. Some things have the ability to burn. For example, cotton is very flammable. Some of you probably know that we put flame retardant materials on all pajamas and clothing for anybody who's how young? Kids, generally 24 months and below.
Wait, so they don't care if adults burn?
Well, we don't put flame retardant chemicals on them
Why?
because most of us have enough sense to, if there's fire on us, to pat ourselves down because we've learned that whole stop, drop, and roll.
That ain't gonna work. I tried.
Okay. All right. Decomposition. Things will decompose, rot over time. If any of you have a compost pile, you've seen this. All right. If you have leaves or yard clippings and they sit outside for a while, over time it will break down. Okay. If you have a mulch bed, over time the wood or the mulch will rot. It just happens. There's no way to stop that. Okay. Oxidation. That's a fancy word for what? Starts with an R.
Rust.
There you go. Rusting.
Is that like?
Okay.
Rusting is nasty.
Okay. That's just 4. Now, remember, and I'm going to put this in your notes. Oops, let's use blue. You cannot label what? What can we not label?
People.
Intensive
Or extensive.
or extensive. Okay. So remember that when you get to the lab portion. We cannot label. Why are you throwing that brownie crap on my floor?
Bro, I dropped it.
Well, then pick it up in the trash can.
Just fell.
Look, we already have some kind of ant termite issue over here. Now you're going to have rodents or roaches coming in here.
Like I wasn't. Okay.
What? Pick up that and put it in the trash can.
It literally fell for like
He
half a second.
said bucket. No, he said.
It literally did not take it.
It sounded like you said
And she was like, he said bucket.
This is why we have rodents and roaches and all kinds of other creepy crawlers.
He's like bucket.
Now, physical check. What's a physical
That's
check?
gonna be cold.
Like,
Can I eat my muffin now?
Only if you keep it up there on your desk.
oh yeah.
Will you go get
A
mad?
physical check.
I like the way you wanted to get water and then you've got to go out there and get food. When did the water fountain start spitting out muffins? We're all going to go out to the water fountain next.
No, that's only for me. You gotta put it in the seat coat.
Right.
It's like a
You need a girlfriend who has second lunch.
Exactly.
All right. Now, physical change.
It's like if you broke a pencil. Any chemical changes are like if something broke down.
What?
All right. Is a change that will not produce a new material.
I'll look up tomorrow.
All right.
I'm gonna get a girlfriend just
It's because I'm conditioned to expect it. You should spend some time in fourth period. All right.
You're gonna get a girlfriend so you can't get muffin.
That's the only reason.
You get the same material.
You get messed up. You get the.
Oh, I changed my thought process. You get the same material, maybe a new state. See, if you'd been in fourth period, you'd just use the word.
Not have buckets.
Wouldn't have thought anything of it.
It's hilarious.
That was funny.
I'm just conditioned to expect it.
No, I said buckets.
I know.
What? So you got bucket?
I didn't say what you thought I said.
I know. That's what I said. I'm just conditioned to expect it.
I know.
I got water nuts.
It's probably you, Aaron.
No, you wait.
Why? You're gonna choke and die.
You're not going to choke and die.
Yes, I am. I'm choking right now.
Now, can anybody give me an example of a physical change where something is changed from one
When you
something-
melt it.
when you what?
Melt something.
That is very good.
Good job, Nigeria.
Melting is a physical change. What's the opposite of melting?
Freezing.
Okay? That's why I said it might give you a new state. So when ice freezes or water changes into an ice cube, you are not making a chemical change. All right? And tomorrow, because we're not going to have time for it today, I don't think. We might, but I'll be surprised. All right? We're going to talk about 5 things to look for. And that's what the lab is for, so that you can actually see. Tyler, get off the phone. So you can actually see the 5 things to know whether it's a physical or chemical change. Okay?
What's another change?
That's what we're talking about. So can you give me another example of something that will tell you if it's a physical change? Cutting it. All right. If you cut something, what else?
I learned this in middle school.
You should have. This is all review. What else can you do besides cut it? I'm just looking for some verbs.
Burn it.
No, burn is going to fall in the next one. Melting is already up here. Freezing is already up here. I know you can read.
Change, right?
Burning is going to be chemical. What? Give me the other 2 phase changes y'all should know. Yes, which is why I'm thinking y'all should be able to tell me these things.
Well, we don't. So let's
What?
go.
Fold it.
Gas.
Fold would work.
Turn into gas.
Eating.
No.
Water cycle.
No. Gas. What did we? Give me let me rephrase. I will not say yes to the gas because that's an indicator of chemical change. But if you can give me the phase change that changes into a gas, then I'll say yes. All right, I will take condensation.
That's
B.
So what's the opposite of condensation?
evaporation.
Evaporation?
Wouldn't that be chemical change?
No.
Okay.
Condensation and evaporation are both physical. Grace, you and I will be quiet. Mario, you too. All right, what else? Malik, shh. What else can we put up here? Where does dissolving fall?
Melting.
When you dissolve, like let's say you're making Kool-Aid, you dissolve sugar in the flavor stuff.
That's a chemical change.
No, that's why I asked it. Dissolving, it's right here in physical.
Wait, thawing.
Okay?
What about thawing?
Thawing, it's right here.
How do you thaw?
What does that mean?
It's frozen.
You just let it sit.
You just let it sit.
The thaw the meat.
Yep.
And you don't do it.
Oh, yeah.
So you gotta do
Okay.
it.
Anything that involves Grace, hush. If you tear, all right? If you grind, if you chop, okay? Those are all variations on cut. Those are physical changes. All right? Are you with me on that?
Yes.
kind
All right. Now, the easiest way to know the difference between physical and chemical is to talk about these 5 indicators we're going to talk about. But before we can do that, we need to talk about what a chemical change actually is. It is not time to go. Anybody remember this graph?
Yeah, from the,
That's the one.
whatever
That's the one.
unit that was in.
the face- the face-
It was, yeah, it's a phase change graph. Okay? So, before we get to chemical, tell me about this graph. What's down here on,
I don't remember.
this is energy. This is temperature. All right, I labeled these as A, B, C, D, and E just so it was easier for us to talk about the sections. All right, tell me what happened today.
Melting. Freezing.
No. The graph goes up, so it can't melt or freeze today. What state are we today?
Hey.
Solid.
We're solid.
Oh, my bad. C is the liquid. I
C
think.
is the liquid,
And E is the gas.
and E is the gas. Okay? It's the states when they go up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What happens at the flat spots?
It's melting.
Melting.
Those are your phase changes. So what happens between the solid and the liquid?
It
Nope,
melts.
sir.
All right, it melts or it does what else? So what's the name for solidifies? That's right, it's freezing. I just wanted him to come up with freeze because solidifies is freeze. Okay? So what happens between a liquid and a gas?
It evaporates from boiling.
All right, it evaporates or it boils. What's the opposite of evaporation?
Condensation.
Condensation. So all of that happens in D. Y'all remember that? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a while ago, but I just put that there to see if we could recall it and pull it back from
We
our
can.
old files and dust them off from
We can.
several weeks ago. Okay, so this is the last thing we're going to do. We're going to talk about this. Let me put in a little space. Make that out. All right. So, a chemical change. First of all, a chemical change will alter the identity, and I'm just going to write ID, of a material. Mario, sit down and be quiet, please. Now, if it alters the identity of a material, here's the catch to a chemical change. You will get all new materials with all new properties. Okay? You're going to get all new materials with all new properties. You will not keep any of the original properties. So to illustrate this, I've picked something that everybody's familiar with. What is NaCl? Does anybody remember?
Salt.
It's salt. It's table salt. So what things can you tell me about table salt?
Tastes good.
Okay? We can eat it.
Some people only believe it's the only seasoning.
Some people do. Okay? You can eat it. It tastes good. What color is it?
White.
White. And it's a solid, right? All right. Now, what does it come from is the reason that I use this example. It does not. All right? Na is a silver metal that explodes in water. Okay? So imagine if you put a small amount of sodium metal in your mouth. What is your saliva made of?
Salt.
Water.
Water. So if you put a small amount of sodium metal in your mouth, what would happen?
Head's gonna blow.
Your head's going to blow off. Okay?
What Tyler said.
Now,
Hey, what are Pop
When you
Rocks?
do the ad-libs on some of the mixtape, bro.
chlorine is a yellow poisonous gas. A little bit of, just a little bit a little bit of chlorine gas, and you'll be dead instantly. Okay? It does not take very much.
So what it's gonna do, you just, if it's just gonna be a face, you're gonna have a.
You know, drop it in. Okay? It's a lot like cyanide. Now, silver metal explodes in water. We can't so much as have it sitting in my room. I still have 4 minutes, guys. I'm not going to let you leave late.
Oh my God.
So if we have a silver metal sitting in here, even though it's cold, it's humid in here. So there's moisture in the air. What would happen if the sodium metal reacted with the moisture in the air?
We'd all die.
It'd still explode. All right? The yellow poisonous gas is not safe, so I can't have it in here or I'd kill most of you.
Oh my
Alright.
God, both of them.
But when these two things react, what happens to them? It becomes something completely new and different. Does it keep any of the original properties? Does it have any of these properties? No.
does that work?
It's all new. It's white. It's a solid. Mario said it tastes good. It's safe to eat. So it doesn't have any of those original properties.
It's really like that in real life?
Yes.
Who tried that? Like, who figured
I have absolutely no idea who figured it out. Okay?
Two just like combined naturally somehow.
So tomorrow we're going to talk about how we know it's a chemical change. There are 5 things we're going to look for. What's your homework tonight?
Study.
Study for the quiz. Or you can just come in and fail it. That's okay too.
I never studied. I never failed.